Another name, guys. Any name.
Mike.
Dr. Phil.
Mike.
Mike. What?
Phil.
We have Delta Latinos
Phil.
today, so let's
Phil.
begin. I'll be Jose, and you are
No, wait,
your real
Jose.
name Ahmed. Ahmed.
Ahmed.
Okay, Ahmed. Okay, Ahmed. So how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So hey, man, looks like we're both college students, and what are you studying?
I actually graduated from college.
Pretend we're in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm studying business.
You're studying business. Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm studying. I'm on a similar field. I'm doing commerce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Accounting.
From the area?
Kind of, yeah, kind of, kind of.
Okay.
So
nice.
I figured like, you guys are setting up here in my university, and I'm just kind of like weary. I'm kind of surprised that, there's actually Muslims that still exist, man. For me, I see religion as a problem. Like religion is the problem to everything. Without religion, everything would be great. There'd be so much peace. There's just so much war right now, so many issues, and like I'm just so. I have a question, man. It's been bothering me for a while. Is it okay if I ask you? Sure. Okay. I don't even know how to ask this. Like I'm embarrassed to even ask this question, but I'm gonna go ahead and proceed anyway. Why did your prophet, peace be upon him, right? That's what you would say. Why did he marry a 9-year-old? Like,
Sure.
is something wrong with you guys? Do you have a 9-year-old wife?
Sure.
You do?
No, I don't.
You just said sure.
No, I was something.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll give you the compliment that you don't. All right. So tell me about that, man. Like, is it cool to marry a 9-year-old?
Okay. So just to your first point, I can't believe there are Muslims around these days. Just so you know, Muslims are everywhere, right? Whether you know that
Oh,
or
God,
not,
that's scary.
we're 1 billion people. So 1 in 7.
1 billion terrorists?
No, not terrorists.
Well, that's how I feel. Just judging on what's happening. But anyway, keep going. I'm really interested to know about him marrying a child.
Sure. So I think there's a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding.
So please,
about
do it for me.
religion. So in terms of your question, you have to look at the context of the time. So we're in 7th century Arabia, where the custom was to marry women who were of young age. So 7, 8, 9 years old was completely ordinary and customary at the time. In fact, if you were marrying a woman who was 20 years old, she would be considered old by those standards by that time.
No, you're still making me very intimidated, because I feel like you're justifying that it's actually okay, given the fact that it was okay, fine, it was fine then, so that means it's fine now. I mean, that means that means that you can, according to religion, go and marry a 9, 10-year-old, according to your religion, because that's what happened in the past, right? So this is obviously illegal, man. You can get locked up for that. So it's against being American, and again, it just seems so hypocritical for you to wear a shirt like that.
Actually, it's funny that you say that, because there are states here in America to this day that legalize child marriage.
Like which state?
Alabama.
What's the age there?
I'm not sure of the specific age. I can pull it up for you, but
So to
less
my
than what you
research,
would-
to my research, it goes as low as 14, and 14 is still controversial, even if you consider a modern day era. But how can you compare 14 to 9? That's like a child. As opposed to like a 14, it's still like I don't agree with that. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I think you have to be at least 18, 19.
Yeah, of course, and you're a function of the time that you live in. So right now you live in 21st century Western society. Of course, you're going to have a different perception of what's right and wrong versus if you live in 7th century Arabia. So you have to understand and put that into context.
So you're talking about morality now, like moral values, like the moral values change over time.
Correct.
Yeah, but I would say that morally it's never acceptable to marry a 9-year-old, no matter what, especially if someone claims to be a prophet of God.
Sure.
That's even more problematic.
So
Wouldn't you agree?
to you, that is how you feel. And that's, again, a function of the time and space that you live in. Again, you have to look at the context in which the revelation was revealed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, in 7th century Arabia.
So tell
It
me,
was a completely
tell me the
different time.
context. You say that there's some kind of context that existed, some kind of justification that you could marry a 9-year-old for some reason. What is that context? I'd personally like to know.
The context of that time.
Yeah, because your claim is that there's some kind of context or whatever, that hey, it's okay to marry Her name is, what is her name? Aisha?
Aisha.
Okay, it's okay to marry Aisha. So why is it okay?
Because, well, first of all, let me just backtrack and give you some basic information about this. The Prophet, peace be upon him, actually married her when she was 6, and then didn't consummate until she was 9. So there was
Right, which is why, I mean, I said
So-
9, I didn't even say 6, I didn't even know that.
Right.
Whoa!
But just
So are
giving
you telling me he started a relationship with a 6-year-old?
again,
Holy smokes!
and if you know who Aisha is, she is the daughter of his best friend Abu Bakr Siddiq. So,
I don't know who that is.
okay, well, he was a very close companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Okay.
And again, marrying Aisha means that he married into his family, married into Abu Bakr's family. And again, during that time, 7th century Arabia, intermarriages and marriages between different tribes and peoples were very important. It provided the connection and the close kinship between different tribes. and different
That
peoples.
would all be fine if we're talking about like maybe a female who's higher in age. I mean, we're still talking about a 9-year-old here.
Again, in your mind, because
Okay,
you are
so let
rooted
me
in
ask you this.
21st century
Let me ask you
society.
this. Would you marry a 9-year-old today?
No, because we live in
Why?
a different time.
But your prophet did it.
Yeah, if I lived in 7th century Arabia, my answer might be different.
Oh my God. Jazakallah khair. All right, very good, very good. Jazakallah khair. All right, so we need 2 people now to come up. I'm gonna kind of stand on the side.
Two people for?
Huh?
Who's gonna be the non-Muslim?
Yeah, one will be the non-Muslim, one will be Muslim. So who wants to be who? So, new hands, inshallah. You want to go? Okay, 1, 2.
I'll be the non-Muslim.
You'll be the non-Muslim? Okay. Drill 'em.
I got you.
Bismillah.
Rocks and arrows.
Let's go, brother.
Wait, what's my name gonna be?
What is your name?
And,
Rachel.
Rachel.
What's your name?
Where I work?
no, you can just say your name. It's,
Jonathan. Michael Jackson.
Steve or something.
I'm Steve.
Nice to meet you, Steve. I'm Dan.
Sherry.
Nice to meet you. So, I noticed you're wearing a hat. I'm assuming you're Muslim, beard and everything.
Yeah, good guess, brother.
Yeah,
So
So,
you know about Muslims?
yeah, I've been hearing a lot on the media. So, is it true that you guys are supposed to be, extremists and stuff? Like you're ordered to bomb people?
Well, you said it's coming from the media. I don't mean to interrupt you, but well, considering you're thinking that we're bombing people, it means there's some odd information you're getting in regards to.
Well, I know because I've seen like most of the Muslims that I see all around the world, you know what they're doing, that they're actually attacking the West, right? And they're bombing people because they're infidels, right?
Okay.
Am I correct?
I mean, people say that, people do that, but I mean, it's not what Islam teaches whatsoever. I mean, have you ever read a Quran before?
No, but I have seen a few verses in the Quran that talk about killing. And I was like, I forgot the verse it was, but I do remember it said, "Kill them wherever you find them" or something.
So that's from Surah At-Tawbah. This is when Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who was our prophet instead of Islam, was able to go into Mecca, and it was a conquest of Mecca where there was no bloodshed, by the way. So I mean, if you're saying that this person who is, this person who's preaching this violence and this hate for other people, and was able to conquer places just by, his words and by, with any sort of bloodshed, I mean, is that incumbent? Is that reflective of,
Wait,
the
but-
same religion?
But you follow the Quran, right?
I do, as much as I possibly can.
So, but then the Quran is ordering you to kill them wherever you find them.
But it's also teaching you that if you kill one person, then it's equal to killing all of humanity, whereas if you save one person,
Wait, so
it's
is your
equal to
God
saving all of humanity.
contradicting himself?
Almost certainly not. No, see, what's interesting about the Quran, though, is that it even makes a challenge to every single person who reads it. If it was not from God, you would find much contradiction inside of it.
Which that's a contradicting.
Well, you think it's a contradiction, but you need to.
Well, because he says to kill them, but then he says don't kill them. So
Well, it's kind of like saying, like, in American context, okay, so at one point, people are, like, living happily under British rule, but they're actually not, and then they have a revolution, and people start killing each other, even though they're own, they're literally from the same, place that they immigrated from, so, I mean, are you then killing your own brother in that sense? I mean, logically, any sort of context where it comes by, anybody can take it the wrong way, but our context is that, to protect inside of that area, okay? And first off, it
so
says
protect
inside later
whatever's
on.
inside and then kill whatever's outside.
No, see, what you're also not what you're negating though is that later on in that verse it says, you give them a period, for them to leave the area. So I mean, if you really wanted to kill people, would you give them a warning first and let them leave and let them be safe from what they're doing? They're actually telling you, like, we want to teach you.
But I noticed that, like, you guys are coming to America,
Okay.
to my country, and you're expecting us to leave, or you're gonna kill us?
That's
Is that
most
what you're
certain. That's what you're saying, though. I mean, if that's what
But
your
I didn't
understanding of
get the warning
Islam.
about, like, the time we have to leave,
Mhm.
so.
I mean, has anyone actually? I mean, I'm a Muslim here. Am I telling you right here, right now, if you don't follow Islam, that I'm going to kill you?
I feel like that's what your Quran is telling me.
But well, here's the thing: if you actually read the entire Quran, okay, it's a message of peace brought to all of humanity to be able to guide people back to one true faith. Okay, and as egalitarian as what Islam actually is, it allows all religions, okay, to be practiced in the area where it is. Okay, so perfect example. Look at Yemen today. Okay, in Yemen there's still churches. Inside of where current day Morocco is, there's churches and synagogues inside of Spain.
No, I've
when
actually
they had
heard
the
that in, like, for example, in Saudi Arabia,
mhm.
like, for example, here in America, you're allowed to do what you guys call dawah, right? You guys come and you try to invite people to, like, your groups and stuff.
If you knew the beauty of
However-
Islam, you do it too.
However, well, I mean, beauty isn't killing and stuff. But anyways,
Most
but then
certainly,
in,
I
like,
agree.
Saudi Arabia and the Sharia law and all that,
Okay.
there isn't allowed to be any non-Muslims. So how is that allowing religions to coexist?
Mhm. Well, what's your understanding of Sharia though? Because I mean, my understanding of Sharia, and I'm
I know
trying
that
to be
Sharia is
as best of a
basically,
Muslim as I can
pressing
possibly be.
women, chopping hands off, ears off and stuff.
Where do they say ears? But I mean, chopping the hands off.
I
I
don't know,
mean,
I've heard it somewhere.
Okay, you guys are gonna start hitting each other soon. Let's pause you, inshallah.
mashallah.
Barakallahu feekum. Excellent.
I'm gonna chop the ears off.
It was a good conversation overall, but we need to talk.
Really?
We need to talk, brothers and sisters, big time. We need to have a talk. All right. So now that that's been internalized, let's learn, inshallah, and kind of look at, first of all, the feedback, okay? So ask yourself these questions. And for those of you who didn't come up here, ask yourself these questions as if you were up here. So are you satisfied with your answers? Like, are you personally satisfied with the answers that you gave? The way you answered it, do you feel satisfied with the answers? Were you leading the discussion? Who was leading the discussion, right, in the conversations? We had 3 conversations in total. Was it the Muslim or was it the non-Muslim? What was the discussion about? What were they discussing? What were they talking about? What was the topic? What was the subject? Did you call to Allah? Throughout the whole conversation, did you call to Allah? What did you achieve? Did you reach your objective? What is the objective? Define the objective. And did you meet it? Yes or no? Did you water down the religion? Did you lie about Allah and the Messenger? Did you fall into useless arguments? Okay, so let that internalize. And let's reflect. So just quickly, let's run down by them. Are you satisfied with your answers? Personally, I wouldn't have been satisfied with many of the answers. Some of them, you know, there were some good counters actually. MashaAllah, may Allah bless the brothers and the participants. But I personally wouldn't be satisfied with all the answers that I gave. That's okay though, inshallah, we can build. Were you leading the discussion? So who was leading the discussion? It seemed to kind of just fluctuate, right? Like at times you felt like the Muslim kind of got a hold, but then the non-Muslim would just like grab it, right? And as Muslims, we can't be the inferior brothers and sisters. It's really time for us to rise up and be empowered and really just take a stand here and be forefront and confront and deal with these issues, inshallah, with empathy, compassion, reason, and logic. We need to be Muslims and we need to represent what Islam is, inshallah, as Muslim intellects, bi'idhnillah, and as compassionate Muslims. So we need to lead the discussions. It can't be a reversed role anymore. You know, we're in a situation right now where Islamophobia is just on top of us. Okay, well, we need to just kind of, you know, get out of that bubble and be out there and speak to people openly about our deen. So, were you leading the discussion? What was the discussion about? What was talked about? What did we speak about? What did we say? Who said what to who, right? What was being discussed? If you noticed, a lot of the discussions revolved around misconceptions, right? And contemporary issues that exist today. So this was the majority of the discussion, perhaps over 90%. Did you call to Allah? I didn't hear the word Tawheed once in the entire conversation, on any of the conversations, right? You guys agree? Not to say that they weren't good conversations, they had their benefits and it has its place. These kind of discussions have their place. But overall, we need to look at da'wah holistically and objectively. Objectively, what are we trying to achieve here? Are we trying to just, always play the defensive role and have to just kind of defend every point that the person makes? Or do we have a greater objective? Do we have a greater objective in da'wah? So did we call to Allah? What did we achieve? So what did we achieve? Did you achieve anything leaving the conversation? Was the person, left with who Allah is, who the Messenger ﷺ is? Was he left with any of this? Or she? Was she left with any of this? So we need to ask ourselves this. Did you reach your objective? Did you water down the religion? So was the religion watered down? And this kind of goes to what we were discussing earlier. Stick to what you know, right? بَلِّغُ عَنِي وَلَّا آيَةً. So even if you know one verse, one ayah, one prophetic narration, you convey it. Now if you feel like this is in your area, your field, don't even go there, right? Because we need to put ourselves, our intellectual side, and our knowledge base in the area that we feel comfortable in. Did you lie about Allah and the Messenger? So did you say anything incorrectly? And I think this is where the confidence kind of is shaky, right? Is like, we want to make sure that we don't say anything wrong, right? And this is why it's important, again, to just remain consistent with Islamic teachings, convey what you know.